Good afternoon, and welcome to another rambunctious version of Diatribes from the Voice of Doom. Now here's your rabid and raging host, Voice of Doom. Okay, I wasn't going to do a diatribe so soon, but I want to talk about a couple things, a couple issues that have come up in the last day or two, and I don't want it to be all time-worn by the time I get around to talk about it, so I'll do it now and talk about what everybody else is talking about right now. Two issues, two maddening, infuriating issues that's going to cause nothing but bloody civil war in every pocket and corner of what used to be the United States. Now, issue one. These migrants, these asylum seekers, are not showing the proper respect to their hosts, to their benefactors, and to their money, whatever you want to call it, sugar daddies and mommies that are taking care of them. Now, it used to be, I believe, during the Ellis Island days and things of that nature, that migrants were carefully vetted through a channel in New York called Ellis Island, and they usually had to have some plan of action once they got to America. Find a relative, do this, do that. Now, everybody's fortunes are different, and I'm sure many migrants ended up in Hell's Kitchen and places of that nature and lived in poverty and lived just as bad, if not worse, than where they came from. But usually things cause them to leave their country: famine, civil unrest. These migrants we have now are claiming asylum because they have the feeling that their government is going to persecute them. Now, I don't see why they would go out to these fat old ladies and these babies in strollers. I don't see any political advantage of causing genocide in their countries. If they're poor, they're poor. Try to work their way up in their own milieu, their own environment, where they're comfortable, where they were born. That's just karma. That's just how it turns out. You're born in a certain country, that's it. You chose to be born where you're at. You chose to be born in the circumstances you were born in order to learn, for whatever reason, to propel your life condition to improve on the larger continuum of life, which travels through time and space for all eternity. We won't get into that. So the main issue is some of these migrants feel like the American dream is not to get a job and get a house and a picket fence and a couple dogs and a wife and kids. No, the American dream is to come to America, what used to be, and get free housing and free food and free phone and free utilities, and basically not have to get a job because you don't have a work permit. But here you are, so take care of me, and we're doing it. And it's reaching the breaking point, it's reaching the boiling point, it's reaching the point where people just are getting sick of being displaced, and it's happening all over. Now, the latest thing, which is a kick in the face, literally, to what used to be America, is that 5 or 6 asylum seekers were shoplifting or doing this and that, and an officer of the law decided to stop them, and the 5 or 6 decided to pummel the police officers. kicking them in the face, kicking them in the head. They arrested 5 of them, processed them, and after 3 hours were let go. And as they left the police station, they gave the finger to the cameras who were there, and basically saying, fuck what used to be America. Okay. Now, I guess people are going to put up with this until they have to do something draconian. And my prediction in this regard is there's going to be Draco. There is going to be a resurgence within the next month or two of vigilante groups, aka the KKK. And they will be treated like the KKK. But there's going to be a lot of bloodshed and a lot of innocent people are going to die because the vigilantes are not going to be strategic. They're just going to say, you're not from here, boom. And it's going to happen all over the place. So that's going to be just great. Now, we know how the Petri dish administration and the justice system deals with right-wing insurrectionists. They will let murderers go free. They will let rapists go free. They will allow human trafficking and child sex trafficking and child exploitation through labor happen all over without any repercussions. But if a vigilante group that is targeting migrants or a insurrectionist group that are targeting the desk of Nancy Pelosi get out of line, the full long arm of the law will be bestowed upon them. They will be given every last charge and every last sentence that the books will give them. So the vigilantes, if they're caught, will be given life sentences. And I think that most people that are thinking about being a vigilante or being someone who might go against the grain of the so-called government have been cowed, defanged, and declawed. They know that if they step out of line one bit, then it's off to the who's gal for them for the rest of their lives. Because we don't live in a democracy, we don't live in a constitutional republic. We live in a oligarchy, and we live in a dictatorial, totalitarian regime led by a demented, senile, old, corrupt fool who's the worst of the worst. I put him in the top 10 of the worst people ever to walk this planet. We've got Schuylkill-Gruber, we got Stalin, we got Mao, we got Petri dish, we got Ivan the Terrible, we got Vlad the Impaler. I mean, we got the top 10 there. And Nancy Pelosi, and Mayakas, and Lizard, and then Genghis Khan. That's the top 10. But I digress. Let's move on to the other subject, because the vigilantes are coming, and what's going to be funny, in not so funny a way, is the old guard, the old gang, Crips and Bloods, or whatever they call themselves now, are going to be like, wait a minute, this MS-13 people, they're telling us to get out of our neighborhood. So there's going to be gang wars, and there's going to be a lot of bloodshed. You watch what happens. Issue 2, the high mucky-muck billionaires were brought to court again, brought to the Congress to explain their platforms, to explain why they're allowing all this corruption on the internet to destroy their children. And we're going to get to the bottom of it, and then we're going to do something about it, and then we're going to regulate. And what do you billionaires have to say for yourself? Now, you might think that I might take one stance, and I don't. I really don't blame Zuckerberg or any of those people about anything. You create platforms where everybody can communicate with everybody, and then you're expected to police those people. You're expected to be responsible for whatever happens. Well, my daughter kept getting emails online that were bullying her, and then she killed herself. These are problems that have cropped up in the last few decades because of the ease in which communication can be bestowed upon others and how you can just inundate someone. I was bullied in school, but nobody ever called me up at home. They waited till I got to school, and then they beat me up. So that was more expedient. We didn't go through a lot of rigmarole, and I don't think I ever once considered suicide because I was being bullied. And everything worked out in the end anyway. But kids having access to the internet, it's desensitized them to sexual matters because they can watch all the porn they want. When I was a teenager, man, we had to sneak into the little arcades, the Nickelodeon arcades, and put our quarters in and try to see as much as we could see until some responsible adult would throw us out, which never happened. But that was what we did. So sex was a mystery. Sex was exciting. Sex was enticing because we didn't have access to it. Now, kids now, they don't even want to have sex. They want to be dogs. They want to be elves. They want to be, extraterrestrial rubber people, whatever. But they're not interested in sexual matters because they've already been immersed in it. It means nothing to them. As far as other ways that the internet and the platforms expose children to everything, what do you expect to happen? When everybody is connected to everybody, when you can get comments from every corner of this planet on everything you do, and then you're stupid enough to put your life on the damn internet. I did this today. I ran over somebody. That was good. I got 2 million hits on that. It went viral. The stupidity. You put that out and it goes out to the universe, and then the universe fights back or tells you something back, and then you go all to pieces and say you're going to kill yourself. So forget all these hearings. There's no winning. You regulate the internet, how are you going to do that? Well, every time they find a way to do it, they find a way to get around it. So kids are so smart, they're so brilliant now. They're absolute geniuses. That every time we put up a kid's safety thing or a block, they find a way around it. Well, we found a way around things too when we were teenagers. We found a way to get beer. We found a way to do whatever. Didn't break many laws, not per se, but we found ways around things. We found ways around turning in our homework on time. So they're not going to regulate the internet. The cat is out of the bag. You can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. It's out there. And if you want to deal with your kids' angst, then deal with it directly. Find out what's wrong. Communicate with your mouth to their ears. And then use your ears to listen to what their mouths are saying. Instead of, I can't control my kids' access. Now, as far as I was concerned, my kids didn't have phones until they were well into their teenage years, and the only reason they had them then was so that they could call if they needed to. As a consequence, they're not addicted to social media. And when I talk to people at work who are sitting around the table, and some of them are just looking at their phones, the husband and wife are each looking at their phones and not talking, or they have their phones on their table right next to them. Every person has their phone next to them. And the subject of phones and social media come up, and I say I don't have one. I have a flip phone, and I have no intentions of getting a smartphone or an iPhone because I'm too addictive. And I say that, and invariably the old people are like, well, I didn't want to have one either, and I rarely use it. But I realized I had to get one so I could be in contact and have, be able to call people in an emergency. As they go back on their phone and start looking about the latest on Ariana Grande or whatever the hell they're looking at. It's like, yeah, I really didn't want a phone. I don't like them either, but, I need it. And invariably, a lot of us will talk about the end times, the apocalypse, and Revelations from the good book of the Bible. And we talk about the mark of the beast, and I'm like, well, there's been so many theatrical presentations of the end times that I don't think that people are going to fall for standing in line to get 666 tattooed on their forehead. I don't think that's the mark of the beast. And they say, what is the mark of the beast to you? And they say, well, do you think it's the serum? And I go, no, it's in your hand. As they're holding the phone, scrolling through the latest Taylor Swift news. That really gets to them. These church-going, pious people. And I tell them the mark of the beast is in their hand. It kind of ruins their dinner. I don't care. That's just how I see it. So I'll leave it there. I think I said quite a bit without saying much at all, and something for you guys to chew on. And I'll talk to you later, and have a good day. Bye.